Thank you for coming out to the Organic Perspective. Today we have Miss Jennifer Williams, she is a great businesswoman and a pillar in our community. And I just wanted to bring her on since today is our topic is about economics and black businesses and black money in the community and how we're going to keep that going and keep it circulating. Jennifer she started out in 2006, started her own daycare business, and she was only 35 years old, and to this date now it's only been not even a 10-year period, and she has actually 3 locations in Atlanta, Forest Park, and Stockbridge. So we're going to get her perspective and how she achieved such a huge success and doing it within the community and working with our children, which is like a dire need for us right now, because a lot of our children are falling by the wayside because of the educational system and the poor economics in our neighborhood. So we're just going to talk to Jennifer today. If you want to tell us how you got started, or what made you want to say, I'm not working for anybody, I'm going to start doing this, and what was the...
Well, I was in the medical field, so I was always in the field of caring for people, but I was the collection manager of a business, and due to the circumstances of my life changes, they decided to say, okay, we're going to promote you, and I got a higher position in the company, and I was doing very well when the company wasn't doing so well. But once I had established the team and the new protocols on how to collect the money, then they decided to demote me by stating they're going to send me home to just be a family, to take care of my family, because I was pregnant with my daughter, Leslie, and also...
So they were trying to help you out.
Yeah, they said they was helping me out by letting me be more home with my family instead of being there managing a team. And in the midst of it, they felt that, and then they decided to place their close friend in my position to just continue to manage what I had started.
What you started, right.
But good to say, not good to say, but I looked at it as a very bad thing in the beginning. But as I sat there at home working, pregnant with my daughter, and my mom at that time was sick, so I was taking care of her also. So it was a good opportunity for me and my family, because I was able to be there for my mom for the last year of her sickness to help my dad out. So it did have positive things, but in the midst of me working, knowing that I was going to have to keep my daughter, it came to me, well, God spoke to me by my faith, and I just said I knew it was something better for me. And that's when it was spoken that you're going to go in child care. If you're going to keep your own daughter, you can help the community and help your family financially by keeping other people.
Have that time with your family.
And have that time with my daughter.
Yeah.
So it worked out for the positive, because after I started March 2006, by August 2006, I was able not to work no more for the company.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to give up the opportunity of working for someone else.
Were you afraid, or was it oh my God, this may not work out, I'm gonna have to come back to my job, or
Yeah, it was afraid, and by me having other people in business and people who I know that was very close, I asked their opinion, and their opinion was, no, you should have to go back.
Right.
You should be able to do it. You should be able to conquer it. So back to your surrounding of people who you have around you, because you have people who, some people say you crazy, you better not leave that job. That's a sure check.
Sure,
Yeah, you're gonna get your money every 2 weeks. But then you have people who already been out there, who already stated, okay, I was able to do it, you can do it too. So it's good to surround yourself with people where you're trying to go in life. Because if you surround yourself with people who's at the same stage as you, they're not going to be able to help you make choices.
Yeah.
So
have you ever, because with the daycare industry, it's a lot of liability, it's a lot of you know, stress and strain dealing with parents and, you know, all of that, have you ever like just sat back and looked and say, okay, like how is that picture of the dynamic with children and their parents and the way the state of our communities are now, how has that shaped your, you know, perspective as far as economics in our community, like the education and like what people, how people think about money, how they deal with it in their families, and you know, because you like on hand with them, you know what I'm saying? So
Okay, dealing with the families and dealing with kids when it comes to money and economics, I'll put it like we don't put the right things, we don't prioritize things, you know, but this is what counts. To our community, what counts is my child getting the pair of Jordan every month, or the new whatever come out every month. If everyone focus on, instead of getting the new pair of material shoes or what's come out that month, and putting back that money to save, to own, because our community not trying to own anything anymore.
yeah,
Everybody know back when we was growing up, our parents putting us to save and to own and to buy. But it's just they live day by day. They don't look for the long term of leaving land or collateral for your kids to come.
right, the next generation.
Because I did a project with the class. There was 3s and 4s, and we was talking about finance.
Oh wow.
So I gave them the because they were asking, how did you come up with the money to start? They asked me questions, and you know, some is saving, some was I inherited. So it was different ways I came up with the money to start. But I gave them the project of a piggy bank. Everybody had their own piggy bank, and everybody had to tell me in a month how much they wanted to save in this piggy bank. And I gave every child the opportunity to tell me. Some said $5, some said $10, some said $2. But whatever they saved that month, I was gonna match them.
All right now.
And so to show them that, okay, if you save and sacrifice sometimes, it can double in many different ways.
Right, you gotta put that initiative.
You have to put
first.
the initiative in it to show them the benefit of saving.
Yeah.
And the parents knew, and nobody saved anything that they put a goal to.
What? The whole class?
The whole class, not one child even saved $2 or $3, whatever their goal was, no one saved.
So then that falls back on how the parents think about the importance of the money and the project that you were doing, because it was really more about, it wasn't really about just saving a few dollars. It was really about showing them, like you say, putting forth that effort and that initiative, and the parents ain't even following through on.
Yeah, I said, any
So-
penny you get, any nickel you get, and I explained to them, like pennies, people overlook pennies, people overlook dimes, but it's a thing of patience. If you have your children to save all their coins, you can do it every 30 days, end of the year, and the patience of them sitting there wrapping them, it's all a lesson, you know, in everything that we teach, but we never really teach our kids to save or the value of the dollar. It's not being taught in the families of the home.
And then more so, they're not saving their money and then they're not putting it towards things that's gonna benefit them and their communities. They looking for the immediate return or the pleasure of what they're getting. So it's like the value of the money is so low, you know, in our minds as far as like how we value money, how we value economics. And that's why a lot of times you see when, like I say, white people come in and buy up our neighborhoods, you know, it's like, then you're like, dang, this neighborhood look good, like our neighborhood, you know, and you don't really realize we can do the same thing. It's just that we're not putting it back into our neighborhoods. And it's just sad to have to see another group of people take it over and do what we could have did and beautify it. And then it's like, damn, now it's too much money, I can't, you know, I can't move back over there, you know. So, but just tell me about speaking of communities, you know, you just did the Feed the Homeless in Vine City, and it was like really touching to me. And that was one of the things I posted on Facebook when I announced I was interviewing you. So you really are involved, and you're not just taking money and, you know, collecting checks from the
Yeah, that's one of the projects we did this year, the Feed the Homeless. We had Watch Me Grow Learning Center. We had teamed up with the Walk of the Vine. That's the name of their organization. Where they come together and do Christmas. They do things all year long.
Okay.
And we decided to participate in that particular feeding. We brought food out. We was able to feed. One of the girls had to take one of her shirts off and put it on another. We took coats, clothing. So that was a good opportunity. And also we had times that the kids made care boxes. They decorate them, and we put different tissues and toothpaste, lotions, and we actually got in our trucks, in our buses, and went downtown and gave those up under the bridge. When you go up under there, I've been downtown off of, by the Civic Center, the shelters down there. We give kids, we sponsor kids every year for Christmas, make sure they have a nice Christmas on the angel trees in the different counties of Salvation Army. I mean, we do a lot for the community, and also if we see a parent that's in need at the daycare who might not have a Christmas or need shoes or need schools to go, clothes to go back to school, you know, we're a ministry also. We're just not there to take care of kids. We're there to make sure they're okay. We're a family.
Right.
So it's not only...
It takes a village.
It takes, and that's what we don't have anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot to do with trust. People just don't trust people anymore, you know. And what do you think it's going to take to build that back up? Because pretty much in your business, people have to trust you before they even get to know you. So it's like, I'm just handing my child over, you know. So it's like, and then y'all build that relationship, and you know. But what is it going to take for us, like individually as families, even? Because a lot of families don't have that same trust. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think it's going to take for us to get that back in order to be able to work with each other and build together?
I think it's going to take one day at a time, because it is hard. Because I know for my daughter, I pretty much put her in places where I know people going to have her best interests.
Right.
You know, I can take her to Brown Sugar Salon, and I can leave knowing y'all going to make sure she's doing what she's supposed to do, and you're going to discipline her in the correct way.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just have to find the settings that we can help. Because I need help. I mean, raising minds, and you need help, because it's something I can tell your child that you might get it from me. But it used to be a time everybody in the community helped raise us. If you was up the street acting up, you're going to get in trouble up the street and when you get home.
Yeah. But
people really don't care. People can see your child walking down the street, smoking, drinking. They won't say nothing to them. And they like,
girl.
But they can get on the phone. But we couldn't do that when we was growing up. You know, there's no way in the world I could walk down the street drinking. I mean, I can drive. Actually see guys, people walking, rolling up marijuana. I be like, really? Yeah. You know, so I mean, no one want to say anything to nobody, because nobody don't want you saying anything to their kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can we do to make a difference? So that's why I think in our centers, they let us talk to them as though they are kids, because they know I care about them and I care about their best interests.
Yeah.
So it's hard to win it back. It's just gonna.
But it's like even in other communities where it's, you know, the Jews or the, you know, they don't all give up about each other, you know what I'm saying? But they still have that basis that they know that, hey, we gotta stick together to make our stuff work, because if we don't, they gonna come in, somebody gonna come in and break it down. But it's like with us, we have to like, we don't really have that base, you know, and we trying to get to the point where we are, you know, trusting each other again. We have that base, so we know that this is for the good of all of us. Even though me and you don't quite get along, we know that if we work together in business and in, you know, educating our children, then all of us is gonna succeed. And we ain't really gotta even talk, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna make sure our next generation is coming up, you know, and doing the thing it needs to do before the next, you know, the next generation.
But it still it starts at home.
Yeah.
I mean, because now you have teenagers having babies, grandparents are not grandparents anymore.
And taking care of the grandchildren.
So it's like, it's really still based at home, because if I'm telling you one thing at school, even though we have a majority of the time, it's the one thing that they parent can say can turn their mindset all the way around for what we trying to instill.
Right.
So,
or they're not saying.
Or not saying.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Because a lot of times it's like, do what I say, or, you know, but they're not really leading by example. Yeah. And I'm guilty of that too, I know, yeah. So we all have to start, I feel like, noticing what's really going on within ourselves, or what we're hypocritical on, in order to start fixing that. And then it can trickle on down into, because like you say, you gave the assignment to the kids, and because their parents ain't worried about it, it's like, shh, I ain't gotta do this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, have you ever like experienced, because, you know, it's still a lot of successful black businesses out here, even though we're not, like I learned I took a class yesterday, it was a meeting gathering at the Black Business Network, and they were talking about, on some of the clips they were showing, about we have the, you know, businesses sometimes, but a lot of times, you know, we're disconnected, and we're not, look at my notes. Sorry. Yeah, we're dispersed, but we don't have the, it's all right to be in different places, so to speak, but we gotta have that connection. And when we're disconnected, it's hard for us to create that network to be able to still work together and circulate the money throughout our communities and things like that. So, have you ever experienced, you know, say another black business where it kind of turned you off and made you feel like, see, this is why I don't need to shop, you know, or this why I don't, you know, because we all kind of had that experience, and I know everybody said that,
yes.
You know, like, see, this is the reason why I go to Walmart, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Even like sides of towns, I have that problem. Like sometimes I shop on this side of town, seem like everybody is just like, I really don't want to be here, you know. And then if I go up to Lennox, I walk and stuff, hi, may I help you? They help you find your size, they helping you. If you ask somebody, oh, it's over there in the corner, they don't walk you to where, they don't walk, you know, it's just, so I catch myself saying the same time, see, that's why I don't like shopping down here. And then sometimes I be like, okay, I'm up north, and I said, no, I'm gonna wait till I get near home to go to the grocery store. But then you get there, they taking their time ringing up the groceries.
Ain't nobody at the register.
Nobody at the register. You know, it's like, see, but I know that this is where I live, so this is the community that I need to support.
Spend your money,
I need to spend my money, because what's gonna happen if I don't have a store right here to go to? I have to drive 10 miles because this store went out of business because nobody didn't patronize it. So it's like you still try to
stuck between a rock and a hard place sometimes. Yeah.
So, you know, and what kills me now, everybody on their cell phone when you go.
So you up to the counter, they like, hold on right quick. Okay, like, okay, but so what are some ways you think we can like go above and beyond to kind of fix that problem of not really having the customer service? Because you big on customer service, I'm sure, dealing with parents, because it can really get touchy when you're dealing with people's children, you know. So,
customer service to me at the centers is, if I'm leaving my child with, if you leaving your child with me, and I can't say good morning, or that'll make me be like, okay, I don't know about this. If I come, I don't think it don't take but a second. Good morning, and acknowledge that child also. Because sometimes, I tell my employees all the time, sometimes the child, nobody probably never told the child good morning.
Right.
They get up, put your clothes on, get in the car, let's go.
Or ask them how they doing.
Or how they doing, or
Yeah.
anything. So customer service is great. And how was your day today? So-and-so had a good day. Nobody want every day when they come in, they hear, oh, so-and-so, he was doing this. And he put this, he jumped off the wall. No one want to hear that. They already stressful from the day's work. Your customer service is, if you see it, document it, and when it gets to a point that we need to address it. But us as caregivers, we have to make sure.
You don't want to focus on the negative all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to teach the kids and redirect them to more positive things. And it's also with your staff. You have to, when they go into the negative mode, I have to always redirect them into a positive thing.
Right.
Instead of making it be like we both all have a pity party.
Right, snap out of it.
Snap out.
And that just brings me to, you know, this woman is so strong that I can't even, you know, she, and you know, we don't have to stay on this phone, but you know, she actually, her and her family actually, you know, went through something early this year, losing a family member, and I could not believe, like, you know, just seeing her just made me like bust out in tears because I just felt like she stayed so strong when she really had all the reason to, you know, not. No, I'm sorry. So, I just want to, you know, say that, you know, everybody go through things, and, you know, she still was able to run her businesses and keep it moving and still go through her process of grieving. And, you know, a lot of times us black women get put into this box of having to be, you know, just, you know, hard because of all the things that, you know, we have to experience, being that our black men are always under attack, you know what I'm saying? And just to see that balance with her of being strong and also still being that caregiver and that nurturer, you know, it was just an inspiring thing for me, you know, because I'm actually her stylist. And now I'm interviewing her. So, you know, I just wanted to touch on that because that was a very important, that was a very, you know, significant part of her journey. And not to say that, you know, it was something that was, you know, good, but it's an experience that, you know, people need to know about, because when you know, go through things like that, her losing a child, and you can still, you know, keep it together, like that's big, you know. And she's still servicing other people and making sure she's taking care of their children. So I just want to give her
I know when some people ask me, so people know, yeah, my son, he was murdered back on July the 27th, 2014. And to experience, you know, someone's taking the life of your child, and it was a very senseless murder. But, you know, that's one of those situations I had to look and have the faith that, you know, he wouldn't put more on me than I can bear. But what getting me through it, I have no regrets. You know, I was a good mother. And I did, you know, I can remember us sitting at the table together, eating dinner and going on vacations and communicating. So I don't have no regrets. And I think that's where I can't say he didn't ever think I didn't love him.
right.
He knew I loved him, and I knew he loved me. So when you don't have no regrets and you know you did all that you can do as a parent, then I felt that he did all that he can do to make me a proud mother. So that what helps me.
Yeah.
Because there's no regrets. And I don't think it's no regrets on his behalf, and it's not none on mine.
Yeah.
So it helps me, you know, it's still a healing process.
Right.
But it helps me to know that you did do the best. I was 18 when I had my son. So we always say, I grew with my son basically. He seen me mature into the woman who I am today, and he was able to see that. And I was able to see how he matured as the young man that I had raised him to be. Not saying that his whole life he was the perfect child, but at least the last year he got back on the path that I had raised him to be. So once I think about that, I don't have no regrets, you know.
So y'all can kind of part in peace and still
Yeah.
go through, yeah.
I can just part in peace.
Yeah.
So that's what helps me, and to be able to maintain it. Was I angry, knowing that I protect people's kids every day? You know, I try to make sure kids safe every day. And I just felt like why nobody couldn't protect my son.
Yeah.
But I think it happened how it happened. And to just let you know, life is very short. And you have to
You gotta start appreciating each other.
appreciate each other day
Yeah.
by day.
Yeah. And just to go back to the economics part of your business, like how did you actually make that growth from starting in, you know, just quitting your job, you pregnant, taking care, well, just having Leslie taking care of her, and then moving into the first building, to the second building, to the third, you know?
It helped me because my dad, he was always a business owner, and the opportunity had came that someone would wanted to sell out. My mom had passed in 2005. She had left me money, my kids money, but I just had it sitting. So at the time when it was time for us to move forward, I opened up to my kids to did they want to invest into the business. So therefore we didn't have to go get a loan, we didn't have to go, so my dad invested. Yes, all of us invested in the business.
Leslie, you invested too?
So by the investment, they be looking for their little money at the end of every year. How did the business do this year? And it gives them something to look forward to. So that's how we was able to financially go and purchase another building to enlarge our territory. And so we kept it within the family.
Good.
And it just was my dad, by him being in construction, he's able to take what you think nothing and make it something. Because he's a hand, that's his gift. And then
we got to utilize our skills, y'all. We got to build the skills.
We came in contact with Mr. Quentin. He's the mechanic. So we use him for all the mechanic service. So it's like we keep it within not just the family, but we always try to circulate the money within the black community.
Yeah.
So we always been big on that because my dad, he was a contractor for years.
That's good. Well, do you have anything else you want to say? Because I don't want to hold you up here. But anybody else want to comment on some things that we talked about, and then we're going to talk to Mr. Paden about the Black Business Network. Anything about to Miss Jennifer? Yes.
I just want to go back to when we was talking about, you know, how you have the issue with, I don't want to shop on this side of town, or you don't want to deal with other black business because their attitude, and even just the workers, not the businesses, but I think a lot of it is just motivation, people not taking serious what they're doing, or they just don't want to be there, they don't want to do it, they don't care. Even if you, and me and my sister, it's funny, when my sister was talking about Chick-fil-A one day, me and my daughter actually, we went to Chick-fil-A, and I said, this is the craziest thing, but I have never been to a Chick-fil-A that has bad customer service. Yeah. It's amazing. Like every Chick-fil-A, I don't care what color the workers are, they have excellent customer service because this is what they do, this is how they brand their company. It's like we provide excellent customer service across the board. And if you can't do it, you won't be working there. And I think, you know, down from people that, whether you work in fast food, Walmart, or just whatever, it doesn't matter what type of job it is. I think if you care about what you're doing and you want to be there, you know, you can make that effort. But I think a lot of it's just people just lazy. They just don't care.
And I
it's
think
frustrating
also,
when you
too-
go
But it's from the
somewhere.
top down.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
It's from the top down,
Yeah.
though.
And it's frustrating when you go somewhere, and like she was saying, they take their time to ring up your groceries. I went through that the other day in Walmart, and I'm sitting there like, are you serious? Like, this lady just ain't got a care in the world, but I mean, just have some kind of initiative. I ain't saying you gotta do my groceries in 2 minutes, but make the effort to get me out of there. Provide good customer service, get there with me, let me go. Don't just take your time, you know.
I think that's why it's important that we need to start establishing our own businesses in a lot of other areas, because a lot of times when we get these jobs at the Walmarts and all that, we know these people don't give a damn about us. We know that we ain't gonna make over a certain amount. We know they switching up your schedule every week. You don't know when you can't get a second job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know people who are in those positions, it's just like, well dang, it's just like you feel like a slave, you know? So that's that lack of motivation and that, you know, that unappreciativeness for your job and what you do because you feel unappreciated. So it's like people take that
It
and work with them.
passes down to
Yeah,
the
and they pass it
customer.
on to the customer like, girl, I ain't getting no money anyway.
That I don't think it's an issue like at this point in the economy where that black people can't have their own and have their own business. I think a lot of us do have our own now. We're learning how to have our own business. But I think the biggest issue, like you were saying, is us kind of putting it back in our community and networking with each other. And I would say you can network with other people too. You can network with white people too, because the more you learn, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you learn what they learn, you bring it home.
Bring it
but
back.
it's not about we stay in this black community and we cut everybody else off. We are still all connected. We still have to deal with each other, period, whether we want to or not. I mean, at the end of the day, everything you do is not going to be just based on black-owned businesses. A lot of the stuff, you can still got to deal with white people every day. I mean, the government is white, you know? So everything we do, we still have to deal with that. It's not about a color issue. I think that everybody just
It's
needs
just
to
having that source
make
and
the
that,
make the effort
Yeah.
to network and share and build. It doesn't have to be an isolated thing based on our community or color, you know, or those
but it
things.
has to kind of start with us to build
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know, that network so that when we do go out, we have that power behind us to say,